Hello, and welcome back. How are you guys doing?
We are great. How are you this evening, sir?
Oh, I'm good.
Awesome. We've got our guest back in the studio tonight.
Yes, indeed.
Obi's back.
Yay!
I'm ecstatic. It's been way too long.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I've been getting some questions when we're going to get a new episode out. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, we're getting a new episode out.
we are
It
getting a
is.
new episode out.
It's coming.
It's working. We're working on it. I promise.
Yeah.
Like right now.
As a matter of fact, it's in progress.
So, the house, like the trusses are on. Section of the roof is put on. Not all of it, but section of it is on. Sewer is in the ground. They've got that. I got to have a
Nice.
freaking pump though, because there's not enough. Like the way the hill lies, we can't get enough footage in the leach line. So I got to get a pump to pump stuff up to the top of the hill so I can do all that. And that really makes me mad, but it's okay. It's gonna be all right. House is coming along though, like
Nice.
nicely now.
Good,
so.
good.
Like we swung by on the way over. I told because I was like, "Oh, you've not been over there. You've not seen, and you've not either. You got to get you over there as
I
well."
know.
Oh man, it's
And he was like, well, the last time I talked to you, you were like in the basement there, and it was like echoing, and I was like, yeah, it's big.
it's huge, man. It's like King Kong could at least like easily wear them as underwear. I mean, the house is that big. I mean,
It's a pretty good sized house.
It's
Nice.
You go in the basement, you got that nice 2-car garage. He's got a perfect spot for the bike and
A little
actually
shop
storage.
type thing. There's
Right.
storage
You know,
on one end.
He's
and
got his
room.
music room set up, which I'm like, okay, that's awesome.
Nice.
And he's got a whole line. There's a bowling alley on the whole left side. And then you go upstairs, and I'm like, you have 4 bedrooms up here? And you're like, yeah. And you're just like, how? Oh,
we
there
walk-
they
then
are.
we
It's like,
walk
these
through
are
and get-
huge. And I'm like,
I can't wait to get it all like done though. My goodness, I can't wait to
talk
get it
about
done.
a family reunion, dude. The whole family get lost. You don't have, you know how everybody gets grouped together, and you're like, I really don't want to be here.
He was saying something about he's like there's a little spot where there's crawl space. He's like, all right, that's where the safe room is. I was like, no, safe
the
room's
safe
over
room.
here.
I'm sitting here
He's
looking.
like, oh crap, there really is a safe room there. I was
It's
like,
like concrete up. He's even got the the air hose that
Right.
goes out, and I'm just like, okay, I
Storm
feel
shelter.
safe already, and it's
Yeah.
not even done. I was highly impressed. It's and for him to do all the work pretty much on his own with with the wife's supervision.
Yeah,
You know,
well, I mean,
'cause
there's been a few hands that's been
Yeah,
out there, and quite a few hands that's helped
it's
us.
a very beautiful home. I really like it. The land out that way is phenomenal. I really like the landscape of it. So
It's a pretty place.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm taking the wife out there someday here soon. Kind of look at some land and be like, I want that corner, babe. What do you think about that corner?
Dude, the other day we watched the Falcon Heavy 2. you know?
The Falcon,
and they recovered all 3
First
Dude,
time.
It was awesome. It was epic. Like
Yeah.
I'd watched it the night before, and then since we were talking about space, solar system, and all this kind of stuff, and we were building water rockets in the classroom, I was
Nice.
like, okay, so this happened like yesterday. Like this has been a great week for space. We got a picture of the black hole. We got Falcon Heavy. We recovered all 3. It's been an awesome week for space.
everything went.
So
as planned.
the kids really enjoyed that. We watched them recover all 3 rockets, and then got to talk about the black hole, the photograph, and I was like, kids, if you don't remember anything else in my class, like you don't remember that Mr. Baloney had a bald head, if nothing else, if you don't remember anything, remember that you got to see the first photograph of a black hole because you lived through a chunk of history right there.
Yep.
So-
Yep. I mean, it's so bad. Like my phone like vibrates. Anything NASA or SpaceX does, it's just like, hey, you need to watch this.
It's some awesome stuff. Dude.
And
I love it.
It pops up on my phone from my NASA app that when the
Wait,
sunrise
you have a
comes.
NASA app?
Yes, I have the NASA app. I totally
Okay,
love
so
it.
did you listen to the last episode?
No, unfortunately, I did not.
You might want to listen to that one. We talk a lot about like internet security and the apps that you use and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
the things how you kind of go in and kind of everybody can.
Oh,
Yeah.
How Big Brother isn't actually Big Brother. He's more like, I don't know.
A bunch of
your
nosy
telephone.
ants.
He's like your telephone. Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
Android.
It was like you're just waiting to see that one little light pop up on your phone, or you're like, "Why is my webcam on?
Oh, goodness.
Do I not pay
gracious.
you enough taxes? Is that what you're looking at? Is the quality of my pictures on the wall?"
But anyway, yeah. So it's been an awesome few weeks. But like I said, I'm glad we're back here, and I'm glad we're sitting in front of the mics, and I'm glad we're doing another episode.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Can I start the first one?
Over the last couple of days, like, if I could have been over there working on the house, like, I would have been, but it's been like raining cats and dogs and stuff.
Has it not?
It has. And I think that's a good lead in to what we're going to talk about tonight. I've been waiting for that. I've been itching for that one.
So this week I figured we could talk about, this week on this episode, I guess.
Can't really say week.
Yeah, I was hoping that we could talk about the history and the meaning of some common idioms.
I know those guys.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up with a bunch of idioms.
I am one of those guys.
I see two more right here. There's three. There's three amigos.
That's awesome, though. You're right. That's what we're going to be talking about. So the origins and kind of where they came from.
Yeah,
and the ones we hear them and we
hear them all the
them.
time, and you know what they mean, but like, why does that mean that? Like,
Exactly.
how do you get
Would
from
a rose
from
by
A to
any
B?
other name smell as sweet? So
Right.
yes,
So yeah, all right. Obi, you said you wanted to go first.
yeah,
Well,
go for it. Yeah.
Well, Jeremy kind of
Break it
started
off.
with the.
No,
right,
no.
I want to hear the.
No, I don't have an origin on that one.
You-
I don't. I thought
kinda
that would
wanna know it.
that would kind of run into it.
Yeah.
So
Let's see here. The where was it? I just had it. Oh yes. I'm just gonna say you can bleep it out, right?
It's rated adult.
yeah,
Okay,
this is all,
yeah,
we're
we're okay.
rated adult here.
Batshit crazy.
Okay,
All right, now.
and I know that guy too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got to looking into that one, and I was just like, okay, well, I don't know where that phrase come from. So turns out batshit crazy, or it, is turned from, like, if you was to hit, like, bats in a belfry, right? So if you ring that bell, it throws their radar off. They fly erratically. You don't know which way they're going. They're unpredictable. Bam. So that's where it all derived from bat in the belfry, or they have bats in their belfry. Just you don't
okay.
know. They're just nuts. You don't know which way they're gonna go. So I
I didn't understand that one either.
I didn't either, and I felt a little bit smarter, but I'm like, damn, we really kind of dumbed that one down a little bit.
Yeah, I've heard bats in the belfry.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand that was because the bells would mess up the bats' sonar and cause them to like bang
they
into
just-
stuff. So.
and that's they'd fly into objects, and they would actually go in and ring the bell to get the bats to like almost knock themselves out that way, and they would pick them up off the. If you ever notice when you walk in, it's just square. Most time it's just empty up to the bell,
Right.
and it's
Huh.
not exactly the reason it was there, but I mean it was.
Now, see, I always thought, I guess I was wrong, but, guano crazy, because that's what bat crap
that's
is.
exactly where I was going.
I always thought that saying came because guano has a very high concentration of
Craziness.
No, it's like methane.
So when you go into a cave where they roost, it's got a real high concentration of the gas, and when you inhale it, it kind of messes with your brain. That's what I always thought.
It's oxygen depleting. Like you literally have to wear a respirator into like where the caves are and stuff. So
But
that's ammonia. Is it ammonia?
yeah, high ammonia.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's kind of okay. So
like the
that's where I
ultimate
always thought it came
kitty
from. I didn't
box.
realize it was.
Yeah, I was surprised too because that's what I was thinking. I went straight Ace Ventura. I'm like, oh, that's where that came from. But no, it was so.
Interesting.
That's the one thing I learned out of this whole mess. I was like, what?
Okay, so you were wondering about cats and dogs. Mm-hmm. It says that this one can possibly come from like the days of like the Norse gods. It says that Odin was a lot of times pictured with animals like dogs, wolves, and things like that. And
Right.
when he would be mad, he would cause massive rains, and they would say that it was raining the cats and dogs of Odin. So that's a possibility
okay.
where it came from. And then it says also that back in like the 16th, 17th century, where the houses were built much lower, dogs and cats would literally get on the roofs of houses, and when a heavy rain would come, they would wash off the roof, so it would be raining cats and dogs. So a couple of different origins. Don't know exactly where it came from, but that's a couple of possibilities. So
That's messed
That's
up.
weird.
I didn't see that one coming either.
The whole Odin thing, I thought cats and dogs. I don't know. I mean, if they're falling from the sky, okay, where they come from? But I didn't know anything about the whole gods thing. But yeah. Interesting.
Odd. Okay. Well, one of the ones I've come across is, I hear it a lot when somebody says like, well, that's nothing to sneeze at.
I've heard that, but
and you mean it's like you need to take it serious.
right.
Like that's what it means. But why would you say nothing to sneeze at?
Exactly.
When it's like, something you should take serious. Where does that come from?
So, I mean, if I sneeze, I'm having,
That's a reaction. That's not necessarily
reaction,
something that you control, though, right? I mean, a sneeze.
You really can't help
Yeah,
it.
it's like
It's almost involuntary.
Yeah. So
take it serious if you can.
where this comes from is in the 1600s. Sneezing was considered to be a status symbol because people believed that it would clear your head and stimulate the mind.
To sneeze.
To sneeze would, yeah.
Interesting.
So it became quickly that sneezing was a way to show your disapproval or the lack of interest in a topic. So if somebody was talking about something that bored you, you would, as like a way to say like, I'm clearing that out of my mind.
So
how about that?
Is that maybe where like they just like the came from?
Maybe the tisk sound.
I can't do it. The facial expression is here, but I can't.
It's the tisk sound.
It's like,
kind of a
possibly,
thing.
yeah. That's weird.
But the
I
first
didn't see that.
the first printed use of this was as a negative
connotation.
phrase, a negative connotation. Yeah, was in 1799 in a play by John Allingham. The play was called Fortune's Frolic, and the line written was, "Why, as to his consent, I don't value it a button, but then 5,000 pounds is not a sum to be sneezed at."
Huh? How about that?
So that's where that comes from.
Pretty cool.
What year was that?
1799 is when the play was written. The actual use of it was from the 1600s. That's where they started. The sneezing thing was to clear your mind and make you think better. So
that's pretty cool.
More.
That's pretty cool. There was one that I came across, and this was not on any of the lists that we've looked at or anything like that. This was one that I actually came across doing research whenever we were talking back in my class the first year that I was teaching about colonial America. So like we're talking and we were specifically talking about the Bruton Parish Church in Williamsburg, Virginia, and the interesting little tidbit that I got from the research that I was doing about the church was the location of people in the church. So you have like the high up, people that are wealthy and things like that would be set in the front. You had the poorer people
and whatnot.
Yep. And then you have the poorer people in the back. The slaves would be up in the balcony. And the thing that I thought was interesting was as people would leave the church, the poor people would hold their hand out. And they would be asking for a handout, which was literally money, so that way they could get food or what have you. And they would stick their hand out, and as people would pass by, they would put a little bit of money. Well, that transferred over. People didn't want to necessarily know that how much money, or they wanted to keep it under wraps, how much money they were going to give to the poor. So they started shaking hands and transferring money. So today, our fellowship in church, where we end the service with everybody going around shaking hands, is a leftover from that handout. And that's where people shake hands, and it's a passing of money from one to the other, and it's a way of leaving the church. It was the last thing that you did before you left, and it was giving a handout to those people wanting. And I thought that was just a really cool thing.
That's jaw dropper. I didn't know that. That's
just a little chunk of history that we're still like kind of doing, and I thought that was kind of a neat thing. Sorry, that one was just totally random, but you talking about what you were saying there. It reminded me of that. So it was
that's
completely
fine,
off
yeah.
subject from what I was going to go with here. So anyway,
Oh,
you got
that's
another one there,
totally-
Obes? You want one of us to go again?
Let's see here. Okay, here's a good one. If the creek don't rise.
If the creek don't rise.
If the creek don't rise. The
Lord
origins-
willing, if the creek don't rise.
Lord willing.
I'll be there Saturday if the creek don't rise.
So I got to looking into this one, and it's pretty broad. It from what I can tell, reading up on it, comes basically as slang to farmers in the late 1800s, early 1900s. A lot of low basins when they were farming. You know, the irrigation, they primarily just had just that one creek or, you know,
Right,
especially
and it
where
was
we're raised at the ridge lines, you only got this portion and you got the creek and then it's all mountain.
And it's all flat in the bottoms.
You know,
they always
so
called that the bottoms.
They would seed and it would be like, Lord willing, the creek don't rise, wash away the seed. You know, as they
Oh, okay.
planted their fields and stuff like that. So that's kind of where that one come from. And I'm like, okay, that's another one that you think somebody growing up in Kentucky would have
I
just
always thought it
known.
would be like just cutting you off from communication to someone else
Yeah.
or
Like
transportation.
flooded out your
Yeah,
escape from the house.
Yeah,
Which, I mean-
if the creek rises, then you can't cross the bridge, or you can't get,
Right.
the water's
you
too
can't.
deep to ford the creek or whatever.
But there's, like I was saying, there's a lot of different, like that one. There's just like, well, you know, there's just,
That's pretty awesome.
you
though. I
can
didn't
use
know
that
it
one
was
in
about the
but that
seeds
one
and stuff.
was the farthest back that I saw, and I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. You better, because you spring showers, you're planting your seeds, and
Right?
that was a good one.
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. How about that?
Yeah, learn.
I've learned something
Stuff.
tonight. That's awesome. I'm going to learn a lot tonight, though, because I mean, literally, I've looked over these a couple of weeks ago. I looked over them, and then I hadn't looked over them again until like tonight, and then. I've literally not looked at any of the ones that you guys are covering, so I'm learning stuff as we go. I love
Yeah.
it. I love
Yeah,
it,
that's
love it, love
the
it.
fun part for me is the research and the learn and all that stuff that we do
Yes.
for the episodes.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
agree.
enjoy. So another one I had here is like, you know, when somebody says, "Oh boy, that's rough as a cob,"
I think I know where that one comes from.
and everybody knows that, you know what that means. It's like it's going to be that's difficult. It's painful.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an arduous process.
Dirty.
we're
Maybe a
talking
little dirty.
hemorrhoids.
Yeah.
It's a little unsanitary.
So this phrase, as we all happen to be from the South and the country,
Yeah.
where this is even more recently for us than people in larger cities probably, because like my grandparents had to deal with this. You know, so
I want to say mine did as well.
the root of this saying goes back to a dried corn cob
Yeah.
after all the kernels have been pulled off of it. And why would, of course those are rough, but why would you even concern yourself with it? You might be asking. Well, back in the old days, before the advent of the common toilet paper that we have today,
Or the Sears Roebuck catalog. Before they glossed the pages, that is.
yeah, before that
Be easy
became
on those pages.
popular, what you would do is just take an old corn cob when you were finished using the restroom, and that's how you would clean yourself afterwards.
Yep.
And as you can imagine, that wouldn't necessarily be comfortable.
No, can you imagine? We're talking like, 40 grit sandpaper.
Pretty much.
Well, this is like up to what I forget I can't even quote the year, but
Which is again why I guess they refer to your bungs, your backside sometime as your cornhole.
Yep.
Possibly. I never considered that one, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Or the one I always thought of that was because, well, I mean, they say that corn doesn't digest.
No, it doesn't.
So
Yeah,
You
so
can
the
frequently-
the kernels kind of
Yeah.
they have a tendency to show themselves again.
exactly. Yeah. So I've heard that too. So
Oh my goodness. All right, so let's bury the hatchet with another one, okay?
all right.
Which is the phrase "bury the hatchet." We know what that means. That means to either stop a conflict, make peace.
Put an end to it.
We're gonna put an end to this thing. We're gonna bury the hatchet. So origins on this one, whenever I was looking it up, dates back to again like early days in North America, Puritans, Native Americans, conflicts in the New World, and when negotiating over these new pieces of land. literally the Native Americans would be told to bury their weapons, to bury the hatchets, the knives, the clubs, tomahawks, any weapons that they had. So they were literally inaccessible. So you couldn't get them. So you would make peace by burying the hatchet, by burying all of the weapons. So that way, whenever when they would get together, you didn't have to fear for your life.
Because you can't strangle somebody or just beat them to death with your bare hands.
It'd be
It
like
could happen, I guess, but I
like
don't
the
know.
original DMZ. Yeah.
True enough. But that's where that one comes from, and I've used that one a time or two.
See, I always thought it just meant smack it real hard into the wood to lodge it.
To basically
not literally bury it underground.
I mean, and that's where kind of what I thought too. Whenever you say bury the hatchet, I always thought that. I think of the gavel whenever you're dealing with
slam
it down, and we've done that, and it's kind of at rest now. It's at peace.
Well, if you smack it real hard in there, it just gets stuck.
Yes,
that's what I've always kind of took it to mean. Like you buried it in the stump.
Yep.
It's
to bury the hatchet.
But I literally dig a hole and put it in the ground.
I gotta say, I went to a completely different rated R version of that whole phrase.
What, bury the hatchet?
Bury the hatchet,
Oh.
skull deep is what it just, as soon as you say bury the hatchet, I'm thinking, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I went a bit violent there. I'm sorry.
No, that's literally, it means to bury the weapons so that you can't get to them. No access to them. So.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, here's one. Cold as a witch's teat.
I've heard that before.
Now typically besides teat,
that's cold. That's like Kentucky cold.
That's Kentucky cold, right? That's Kentucky at 5:30 in the morning before the sun hits the bottom of the ridge.
That's right.
Is that warmer or colder than a well digger's ass?
No, a witch's
well digger's knee.
Knee. Yeah.
I've never heard. I've always heard.
We got to think a cave is like what, 54 degrees on average.
57.
57
Yeah,
degrees.
57
so
degrees.
A witch's teat is I'm thinking like a little bit.
Well, I don't know, the water in the cave is pretty daggum cold.
It can't. Could you imagine the cave divers that go splunking? I'm just no.
So anyway, so where did this come from?
Okay, so cold as a witch's teat comes from a term categorized from what I understand, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't really agree with the whole witch hunt thing that went on back in the day. But apparently, this man that was a general within the witch hunters of the church and all this, he decides that this is going to be one of his coined phrases, cold as a witch's tit. And it was when you traded your soul to Satan for all these gifts and blah, 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 you get a familiar. Like D&D characters get a familiar.
Right.
You get an owl, cat, gecko, some weird person, I don't know. And so, you've got this thing, well, that
familiar would have to have a source of sustenance.
Which become the mark of the witch, which become the witch's teat, which was always said to be like
it's an extra nipple.
It's extra nipple. Now,
wow.
I knew this. I didn't know that it had a temperature to it, but I knew this.
2 to 3 moles on your body would be considered normal. Anything more, or a very large mole, or a misshaped mole, or a very severe birthmark could be considered a succular point.
And there is something, it's like 15 to 20% of people actually have just
a random
extra nipple.
Yeah, and
it's just like a birth thing.
That was the devil's tit. That's what you fed you're
familiar with.
You're familiar with, and that become colder than a witch's titty. And I'm like, all the definitions that I've looked up, besides a couple of the straightforward ones, I was like, I had no clue. I'm just
I had no clue at all on any of that. That was totally out of left field for me.
I told you on the phone. Wow. That one's crazy. But just imagine next time.
How does it get a temperature? Like, where does the cold part of it come
this is what I'm thinking. Most moles are external. They don't have a big blood flow to them. So what I'm thinking is people back in, the way I look at it, back in the day, if you had a big old mole, it's going to be colder than the rest of your body because it doesn't have a dedicated blood source to it. So it's external, so it'd be colder than your main. That's my thoughts. I didn't dig that deep, but yeah, it's
okay.
Next time you see Gandalf, it just makes me wonder.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's just like wizards, huh? A witch's teat. But
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
feeding orifice for your familiar.
I've got
that's,
something to mess with John now. When next time he's playing his whatever character he plays, he always plays something that has
Spell
spell
slinger,
familiars.
yeah.
His spell slinger.
It's like, where are you feeding that direwolf at?
Yeah. So
I want to see that kibble.
Oh, that's pretty good one.
Yeah, that is. Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty
Now,
cool.
so that brings me to my next one, which this one is a little ambiguous. There's no hard, this is where this originates. There's a couple of good theories, and there's one that I kind of believe, but there's nothing like definitive on it.
Okay.
So the phrase is, there's more whatever of that than you can shake a stick at.
Oh yeah, shake a stick at something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's more, there's more of that than you can shake a stick at. The phrase itself is recorded to be fairly old. We've had some documented sayings that were already predate this one, but it's from the earliest you can find it in print is about in 1818 in the Lancaster Journal. I guess if it's in Pennsylvania, I guess it'd be the Lancaster Journal.
The Lancaster. Yeah.
In 1818, and as written in the journal, it says, "We have in Lancaster as many taverns as you can shake a stick at."
So where did the phrase come from? I mean,
So,
what is it?
so the implied meaning of that is that there's a lot,
Right.
right? It's like
Right.
there's too many to count. There's more there than you could just put a number on easily. But why would you call shaking a stick
Yeah, I
at
was
it?
just
Like,
gonna say,
where-
why would you shake a stick at it if there's a whole bunch
Yeah, exactly.
No, there's more blades of grass than I can shake a stick at in my yard.
Yeah, why would you wanna
shake a stick? What's a stick got to do with anything?
Why would you want to shake a stick at it's your grass? I don't.
Exactly.
It makes no sense. So, the best theory we can come up with as to the explanation of this is, just shake a stick at someone would be considered like a threatening gesture, right?
Okay.
Like, you've got some form of blunt instrument that you are wielding violently, right?
a club or something?
Yeah, a club. You got a stick. You're gonna, and you're waving it. You're shaking it to show that you have intent.
Yes.
To do bodily harm with it, and the theory is that the origin of the phrase comes in from like a fighting or warfare standpoint, implying that there's so many numbers of the enemy that it would be pointless to threaten them with a gesture.
Okay.
That, like,
so you were
it's-
outnumbered to a point that shaking a stick does no good.
Is no good.
I
Like
understand
there's
now.
40 guys coming at you. It's stupid to shake a stick at them.
Right.
Like, it's pointless.
I see. It's like saber rattling. There's no point in rattling your saber if
Right.
there's so many people that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I didn't. Yeah, I was sitting there. I'm like, wow.
Interesting.
So,
It's like every
There-
one of these are just like.
but yeah,
we
there's
learned
no
something.
hard, definite, like, this is where it comes from and this is what it means. There's the earliest print that we can find of this being used, but there's no good, solid origin for it. It's just kind of a theory.
But that's kind of the first time we see it in print, at least.
Right.
Okay. I really haven't. The research I've done is not really. It doesn't give me like specific dates on most of my things. It gives me just kind of like, okay, around this time period. So, the next one that I came up with, I thought was interesting, was armed to the teeth, and to be armed to the teeth, we know means that you are well equipped. You've got enough stuff that you are armed so well that you can take out pretty much anything in front of you. And the origin behind this is that...
And I would go to far as just to say, like, even if everything else, you're even willing to use your teeth as a weapon.
Well, actually, yes. And I mean, yes and no. That was part of it. But to be armed to the teeth means that you are holding weapons. You are wielding enough weapons that you are carrying a maximum capacity to the point that you're even carrying something in your mouth.
Oh.
So like a knife in the mouth or something like that.
Like those old pirate movies. Where
The
they
old
got-
pirates movie where they had, So to be armed to the teeth meant that you had so many things. And literally one of the guys that they said that this originates from is Teach, the Blackbeard. They always would say that he was armed to the teeth because he carried typically somewhere between
like
8
or 9
was,
pistols on his...
Yeah, I mean, he carried the 8 or 9 pistols. Like, he carried 6 on his chest and then 2 in his belt. He had 2 swords. He had daggers on each boot. He had daggers in the back of his belt. He carried clay bombs, basically grenades.
Right.
And then he would weave twine into his beard and light that.
That was
so
actually
that way,
a thing.
yeah,
Yes.
and he would light that and let it smolder so he could use that to light the clay bombs and throw them at people.
I watched
He
that
was
on-
he was like 6'7" or 6'8".
he's a big old dude.
He was huge, and he kept that big beard and the hat and all. I mean, he was massive already. And
I mean, could you?
and
I mean,
then they
just
said, like, even to meet him on the deck, they said you would think that you were meeting the devil because here's this thing that's smoking as it's coming after
right.
you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, I mean, even back then, the average height for somebody was probably
Like
5'6", 5'7".
something. Yeah, and here he was almost 7 feet tall.
He's like 6 foot something.
Yeah.
So he
smoke
was like the
flowing out of him.
original-
Oh my Lord, that would be terrifying.
It's like the
Terrifying,
original
absolutely.
Lady Gaga,
Yeah,
guys.
I mean,
yeah,
this dude
what
is-
is that?
He was, dude. But they would say that he would be armed to the teeth because even though he was carrying all of those things, he would still grab something and typically grab it with his teeth and come after you, even growling with that. So
Yeah, no,
he sounds
I
like
surrender,
every
white flag.
D&D character I've ever played.
amen,
Against?
amen.
You can never have too many knives.
That is
Never.
not a thing. Edward Teach is his name. Yep.
Actually,
Wow.
speaking of that, I have 2 projects at the house. I've got an old school imperial spear I've been working on, and the best way I could put it be like an old Viking hammer. No, I'm not talking Thor. I'm just talking like a real thin, whap you in the side of the face hammer. So I get those done. I just
like a hammer or a pick.
No, I've got a hammer on one side and a double pick on the other side. When I get it done, I'll send you pictures and stuff. But I like to go through and I Dremel the whole shafts, and I mean it's just I have nothing better to do with my time than to make a zombie weapon I'm never going to use.
You never
Fun.
know. You never know.
I'm very hopeful one day.
So it's kind of funny you're talking about Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Famous pirate,
Yeah.
lived famously for being on a boat, a ship.
Right.
Right. So that brings me to my next saying. Well, let me tell you something. You sure got a chip on your shoulder.
Chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what the phrase means as far as like it means that you have kind of a bad attitude or you have like
Right.
something that is literally
Bugging
that
you.
yeah
You can't get off.
Either that or you are walking around just waiting to go off on someone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like you're looking for an excuse to fight. Like
Right.
You got a chip on your shoulder and you're just waiting for somebody to do something about it so you got an excuse.
Okay.
Right.
Short fuse.
Yeah. Similar. Yeah. So the phrase "a chip on your shoulder" comes from the former rights, like constitutional rights of shipwrights, people that built ships,
Okay. Okay.
from the Royal Naval Dockyards in Britain. They were allowed to take home every day. They could take home the offcuts of timber that they could carry on their shoulder. And the unit of the wood that they were carrying was called a chip.
I see.
So they could carry home a chip of wood every day. The problem was that the privilege began in 1634. And as most people out there know, Britain had the world's greatest navy around this time frame. Like it was superior to, that's how they got their power. It's a tiny island. And I think at some point, 70% of the modern world has been under British colonial rule at one point or another.
Man, that island ran out of trees fast.
So by 1756, the privilege had been abused to the point and was costing taxpayers so much money for lost timber that the country could no longer repair or construct new warships.
Wow.
So the decision was then made by the Navy Board to limit the quantity of timber a shipwright could carry home to what he could carry under his arm.
Okay. So no longer on your shoulder.
Right.
Okay.
And the shipwrights naturally were upset by this.
Well, yeah, because now
Because to them it
now
was
they
like a
can no
loss
lo-
of pay,
Right.
basically. So that's where the saying "a chip on your shoulder" comes from.
How about that? Interesting.
I
would have
every
not-
one of these definitions we've run through today, I had no clue. I'm just like, no, I didn't know any of this.
But yeah, I mean, I heard the saying before, but I always thought it was like,
Yeah.
in my mind, in my like juvenile petty mind over here, I'm just picturing like somebody walking around with like a Dorito on their shoulder. Like I'm like, why would you have chips on your shoulder? Like it just doesn't make sense.
Why do you think you're better than me? It's a Dorito.
Yeah. So I like Funyuns, man. What's the problem?
I guess.
But yeah, so a chip was how much wood they were allowed to carry home.
That's cool.
And when the rule was changed to what they could carry under their arm and not on their shoulder, they had a problem with it, and it was a real sticking point with all the shipwrights. So
Cool. All right, Obes, what you got over there?
I was looking through here. Let's see. I got a funny one, a straightforward one, and a crooked one.
let's go with the straightforward one.
The straight as a crow flies.
As a crow flies.
As a crow flies. Now, I've known this as well as probably you guys do, is crows fly in a straight line. I don't know why.
This is is this not just typically a unit of measure?
Yeah, it's
so like
typically-
you go
Yes.
from like point A
It's
to point
15
B
miles as a crow flies.
as a crow flies.
Yes,
exactly. So
that's
you're
where-
looking at a straight line.
Right. And not accounting for elevation change.
Right. Because it is flying on a
Straight
on a
and level.
straight plane. Yes.
Look, we all knew one. This is the only one that we all knew.
Yeah.
So that's
As
where
a
it comes. That's what it comes from.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in like orienteering,
Yeah.
right, when you're map reading and stuff, they have to account for elevation change. So
That's why they use topographical maps and
right,
shows
because
elevations.
that
Yeah.
that's gonna add to your walk and stuff.
Yep.
And everything. So
Right.
So, and on average, a person, we can travel up to, just generally about 15, 20 miles a day,
That's the
That's
normal
normal.
walking speed for a person. Yep.
Yep,
And
so-
one day. Yeah, as long as the terrain is fairly level and non-obstructive.
And,
Right.
and this one took me this one's quick and easy and everybody will get it, but it took me a good 5 minutes before I finally figured it out. It is, and that's crooked as a dog's hind leg.
Oh, we know that one, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, their
And
back
it-
legs
it's
are.
just so it dawned on. I'm
At
just
an
sitting here and
angle.
I'm thinking about it and I'm like, well, okay, but what's the point?
yeah, I'm kind of with you on it. I mean, it makes sense, but why?
Yeah,
why
that's
why
some of the
refer
ones that
to or why make that comparison?
Yeah.
I mean, where
A
did that
dog's
metaphor
back leg,
come
hind
from?
leg versus something else?
Why not
know?
a horse's hind leg? They have the same bend.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah. So when I seen that one, I'm like, okay, that's one I've got to bring up because it just some things, those metaphors are just lost to me, and I'm just like,
Right.
I just can't get my perspective around to lock into it.
So speaking of horses, this is Derby weekend. Yesterday was the Derby.
First time in 145 years.
100. Yeah, that disqualified horse won, or disqualifying horse, which was the winner, was no longer the winner. And I think what happened was someone got that horse's goat, and that's my next one. To get one's goat. You've heard that phrase.
Yeah, I've heard it.
All right.
I
So
don't-
what do
I
you
don't-
think it means?
Like you agitated me. You
Absolutely.
angered me.
Yep, to irritate or annoy someone. So this was one of the things that in the racing industry, goats were used because they thought that a goat in the stall with the horse would calm the animal. So this jockey would place the goat in the stable with their horses, and it would relax the horses. However, if a competitor was to come by and steal your goat, this would typically upset the horse, and it would
Yeah,
upset
but wouldn't
the
you
people.
want your horse mad?
Well,
wouldn't you
no.
want your horse out there like,
That's
I'm going to win this race?
Where's the adrenaline? Yeah.
Maybe, but what I'm thinking is that this would, according to what they're saying, that it would spook the horses because they would, make them uneasy.
Okay.
So this competitor's horse would have more of a chance of winning if it had its goat and it was nice and calm, and you would have taken someone else's goat. So you've irritated this animal. You've irritated.
So it comes from irritating horses.
Irritating horses in the racing industry. There's
So
a couple of them that comes from the racing industry.
fraternities-
That one came from the racing, and then hands down. You've heard the phrase hands down. We won the race hands down.
We did it hands down.
Yeah, it basically without a lot of effort. It's pretty much this is an easy task.
Yep.
Well,
now that you tell me it's from the racing industry, I've understood what the phrase meant, but I've never thought about why you
Where
would say
we use
that.
that phrase?
Yeah.
But now that you say it's from horse racing, I'm going to go with the jockey didn't have to use his whip. He was hands down.
Actually, it's winning hands down is referred to is when a jockey could remove his hands from the reins and drop them and still win the race because he was so far ahead.
Oh,
So
wow,
he
okay.
would win hands down.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I did not see that one.
Yep.
Again.
Couple of
it
those
just-
that came from the racing industry that I thought was kind of interesting. So,
You got another one in there?
no, that was the only two.
That was it.
Yep.
That was nice. I've enjoyed this one. Yeah, this is.
Now, I mean, I've got more that we can go over for sure.
I've still got a couple. I've got a couple. Well, since we're talking about horses, I got one here that says, hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
I saw that one on here as well.
I thought about it.
That's an interesting
too.
one.
Right?
did.
And
Here's the
You
thing.
know-
I'm not going to
know-
look any horse in the mouth because horses and me don't get along.
yeah, they bite.
They bite.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm one of those guys that goes, you know what? This animal is large and it has a brain and it doesn't. They normally don't like me, so I'm just going to stay away from them. Like if it seems very, very friendly, I might give it a pat and go, "Hey, buddy," and then walk away. I'm not going to get on something that has its own mind.
Well, coming from my past, Mom and Dad kept Tennessee Walkers when he was stationed in Memphis.
Oh my word!
All right, so I mean, we had the high steppers. We had 3 horses, and when we came back and lived up here in Kentucky, it was my great uncle had horses that he would train, and sell. So I mean, he was in the horse trade, so I got to deal with the tackle, and just getting it. So I never did understand the whole looking at a gift horse, but I mean, I've brushed their teeth. So I mean, I've stared. You're all right.
You
trying to get the
literally looked into a horse's
mouth, but
They're
I don't.
scary looking, aren't they?
Especially if you
those
think
teeth are like 17 inches wide and about 4 foot tall.
Yep.
And each one of them has like a razor on the end of it, so they can like no.
there's barbed wire in there, but there's a reason you feed a horse palm up.
Palm
You
up,
do
yeah.
not curve those
Because
fingers
they
at
will
all.
take them off.
But yeah, I've never. I mean, I've brushed a horse's teeth. I mean, I've done that, but I don't understand a gift horse.
So you never look a gift horse in the mouth. It's saying, when I give you something, don't ask questions. Just be thankful.
Right.
Right. That's what the phrase means.
Don't
It's
look
just,
for those cavities, man.
Just accept.
Well,
just accept the gift. Well,
it comes from something else,
It
though.
comes from something else. So, by examining a horse's teeth, you can put a rough estimate on the age of the animal, because as a horse ages, its teeth continue to grow and change shape. So you can get a rough estimate of the age of the animal, given the length and shape of its teeth. There's another saying comes along the same lines where it like, oh boy, he's getting long in the tooth. Yeah, somebody that's getting old, that's getting towards the end of their life. It's the same thing. It comes from the exact same specialist task here. The horse's teeth, the older they get, the longer they get. So they could look at that and gauge the age of the animal. Now this, I think, is the oldest one that I looked up.
Right.
It goes back likely to a text from St. Jerome written in Latin roughly in AD 400.
Oh my word.
He wrote a letter to the Ephesians which contains the text Noli equidentes esperici donati. Literally translated, never inspect the teeth of a given horse.
Basically, be thankful that someone has given
Right.
you this animal. Don't complain because it was a gift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't complain that you got an old horse. You got a free horse.
Exactly.
That's
There you
kind of
go.
the...
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd read about that one as well, and that was one of those that, yeah. I kind of knew that it was along those lines, but I didn't know that it went back that far. Wow, that's pretty awesome.
That's the oldest they could find it in print.
Yeah. So the next one that I have here is, we've heard this old phrase, and I've used it. I know I have. And we always talk about it in the context of something that's expensive or something that is unattainable, extremely expensive, costing an arm and a leg. So yeah, I mean, it's if you know, I want the Ferrari, but it's going to cost me an arm and a leg. So here's the thing. This actually goes back to the 18th century, and it goes back to artists who would, you know, paint people's portraits, and the people would pay basically on scale how much of your body are they going to paint. So the more they would paint, the more expensive the painting would be. So they would have portraits made without certain limbs showing. So they would be turned sideways. It would only be one arm, or it would only show your one leg. And that way it would cut the cost down on these paintings. So that way it wouldn't cost as much. So to cost an arm and a leg literally meant it would cost an arm or a leg if you were buying it.
Man, I was totally in Conan by the Barbarian right there. I'm like, you want that horse? It's going to cost you a finger, buddy. But no, it's just like, you don't want the arm? I'm not charging you for the arm.
You have only one arm showing in the painting. Yes.
Why is there 6 fingers?
Wow. I never would have put that together. That is really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I thought that one was kind of interesting. Like I said, that was one of those that was just kind of out in left field. I was like, so that's where that comes from.
Right. Well, so Obi was talking about one earlier. This isn't one I wrote down or researched, but it just popped into me when he was talking about being guano crazy.
Yeah.
Another similar saying to that is mad as a hatter.
Yeah.
I actually have that one pulled up in front of me right now.
She's mad as a hatter. Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No,
I didn't mean to steal one from you.
No, you didn't. You're good.
This is just off the top of my head. If you've got it pulled up, you probably know better than I do. But when you say that, you know that means somebody that's just crazy. Like they're just mentally unstable. And what this comes from, if I believe, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, I've got it right here.
In older days, when everyone was specialized, you had a cobbler that made shoes, you had a tailor that made your suits, you had a hatter that made your hats.
Yes, you're right.
Coopers made your barrels.
Yep.
So you had a hatter that made your hats. And the problem came in, I don't know what they used it for. So you can inform me of that.
I can tell you right here. Okay.
But they in some process in making the hat, they would use mercury.
Yes.
Oh, so there went the crazy.
It's the felt. It's a process for straightening the fibers of felt, so that way they could make the felt. So that way they could, when they would make the hat. They also used a mercury bath on any type of jewelry that they would use on the hat. For since we didn't have electroplating in those days,
electrolysis.
Yeah, they would do a mercury bath to get gold foil to stick to something, so effectively making it gold plated. Okay. So, and they would have to heat the mercury and the fumes from the mercury. Right. This was in the 17th and 18th century that this happened.
Right.
And poisoning would occur. Like people would go into go into this business, be completely fine, and then as you would work with this mercury and constantly breathing these fumes in, you would become poisoned by it, and
you would get heavy metal poisoning.
And they called it the Mad Hatter's disease. It was marked by shyness, irritability, tremors, and it would make a person seem like they were just going crazy, mad, and eventually would kill them. Yeah.
And it come from basically mercury that we all know to stay away from.
Yeah,
and
we know that now.
Literally, clockmakers also used it whenever they would do what they call a death clock, and these were these large, elaborate timepieces that they would dip in these mercury baths, and then they would gold foil them, gold plate them, and they could only make like 10 or 12 of these in their life because it was killing them the whole time they were making them, and they called them death clocks. Right. There's one that's at like Pawn Stars out there in Las Vegas. Yeah. They've got one behind they're like sitting up on the shelf. I think they're wanting $10,000 for it. But yeah, they're these
now, off topic, but similar. So this I mean, and it's not just mercury. Like this type of stuff happens all the time throughout history.
Yes, lead plates.
As recently as lead paint, lead
the
used
plates
in pipes,
they were
lead.
Yeah, they were using plates in France, and they were eating tomatoes off of the lead plates.
Well, now that
and
famously
the acidic part of that.
right. And famously, they thought tomatoes were poisonous.
Yeah,
That's
So
where
they
that
would
came
eat
from.
and something too though. The
and,
tomato
and the first ever trip to the Antarctic
yes.
that took canned food supplies.
Right.
They had
taking
lead cans.
So they thought they were effectively
And the-
poisoning themselves.
The people on the trip, the longer they went on the trip, the worse health they got in until they all
See,
died.
now
But-
they also though thought that that tomatoes were poisonous because they are related to nightshade, which is poisonous, deadly
Right.
in Europe. And when they came to the Americas, because the tomatoes were an American thing, North American thing, they were like, "Why are you eating the fruit from this? It will kill you."
Yep.
And then when they finally were like, "Oh well, no, this is a different plant."
Right.
Yeah, but it looks the same. Like the leaf shape and everything is the same. It's
But
like
then
a
all
cousin
throughout
to it.
history, other times, like even as recently as like the 50s or 60s, they had artisans that would paint with glow in the dark paint.
Yeah,
on, like,
bioluminescent
porcelain
or
stuff.
not bioluminescent.
No,
but,
no. It wasn't
phosphor-
It wasn't bioluminescence.
No, it's
It was
phosphorus.
radioactive.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Like literally hardcore radioactive, and they were doing this really intricate tracing with it on like dishware and stuff. And in order to keep the point on their brush,
oh, they were
they would
constantly
lick the
licking
brush, to get the point fine on the brush, and dipping it in this radioactive liquid and painting it onto the bout before they baked it into the
Gee,
set.
I wonder what that's happening.
And-
That's called.
and there was
Love
so
to
many-
see the HMO on that card. I just,
there were so many people that like they would start losing hair. They would start getting these sores in their mouths, and nobody understood why or what was happening. And this took like years to figure out that it was it was radioactive.
It's
That's what made
crazy.
it glow in the dark, was because it was radioactive. So I mean, but like lead based paint, lead pipes, lead eating utensils, like
Yeah.
all this stuff throughout history has happened so many times that we found this new pretty thing, and then it's killing us.
and then
the
find
whole
out
time.
that it's deadly.
But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to like take over that, but
No. I mean,
yeah.
like I say, that's one that was on the list that I have, and I kind of read over, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I didn't know if I was going to hit it or not. I'm glad you did, because
Yeah, okay.
that was pretty awesome. Yeah. So the last one that I've got that was to pull out all the stops, and that's what we've done in this episode. We've pulled out all the stops here. We've made this episode probably the best that we've ever done. I'm just going to say it because I
hope so.
I mean, yeah. And what that means is that you have done everything that you possibly can do to make something successful. We've pulled out all the stops on the race. We pulled out all the stops, so what this is alluding to is the old pipe organs. And what they would do, all those little pull knobs that you have on it, those are called stops. And when you pull all the stops, what it does is it opens up the entire organ and it makes it as loud as it possibly can be. So when you've pulled out all the
Again, I had
stops,
no clue.
you've turned on everything and you've allowed this organ to be.
so
its-
would you say like that's like putting the organ on like 11, right?
yeah. I haven't watched that movie in so long, dude. I've been too long. but this one goes to 11
Yes, I understand, sir, but why would you not just take 10
and make it
louder?
because this one is 11. This guitar, can you hear it?
No, I don't hear anything.
You got to be quiet. But yes,
The sustain is unreal.
but yeah, that's what it means to pull out all the stops. Though. So that way you're basically throwing everything that you have at it. You've pulled out all of those, and you're it's as loud as it's going to get, and you've done everything you can to make it successful.
I got you.
Yeah.
Right on. So you did you still have a funny one left? Right?
Let's
A
look.
humorous one?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Speaking of humorous, let me tell you what I done at the house the other day.
Oh gosh.
I walk around the corner, right, and I accidentally hit my left humerus.
Oh.
And I did not find it funny at all,
No.
right? So I'm like, I'm caressing it, going, oh, everybody's like, oh, ha 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 ha, was
Right.
that humorous? I'm like, no, No, it was not. I turn around and hit this humerus on the same spot I hit my left arm on, and I'm just like,
that is humorous.
Yeah, that's funny.
So
I just jumped the shark there. Oh goodness,
I feel like such a fish out of water.
Guys, I've loved this. This has been awesome.
This is a good
Idioms are they're fun. And there's so many of them. Like we literally have not even touched the tip of the iceberg.
Oh no.
I could read off like 15, like just
There's
that
like
we've not
there
even
were
touched.
lists that whenever I was looking at this, like hundreds of them.
Oh yeah.
And like,
Well, I've got one more that I want to do.
okay, yeah.
Just if
Yeah.
you guys are both done, I got one
No,
more
we're
I
good.
want to get out. Because this one came. There's two of them here that are related.
Okay.
And I'm going to do the one, then I'll explain the second one. So I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag.
Ah, the cat out of the bag.
Were we on our
All
way
right.
to St. Ives?
I got it.
So let the cat out of the bag means that you've spoiled the surprise. You've let the
You've
secret
revealed the
be
secret.
known.
Yep.
But where does this come from? Why does it mean that?
I'm going to guess magicians.
No.
No?
It is a form of trickery, though.
Yes.
But it would be more akin to fraud,
So
theft,
like
theft
maybe
by deception.
Maybe there's not a couple rabbits in that bag after all, so to say.
Close.
So to say.
Piglets.
Yep.
Pig-
Piglets.
Oh, okay.
Close. So what would happen is people would go to a market, and when in the older days, when times were tough, if you needed meat, you would go buy an animal and raise it and slaughter it when it was big. So people would go to the market to get a piglet to take home and raise. You get a piglet, 3 pounds, 5 pounds, whatever. Take them home, raise them.
You get a
200 or 300 pounds.
Yeah.
For a big good size pig. So what they would do is they would go to the market to buy a pig. Well, I mean, you've heard the saying, slicker than a grease pig and all that stuff. They're hard to
catch.
hold.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what the guy selling at the market, he would put it in a bag for you. Just put it in a sack.
So that
So
way
you
you
could
just
hold on to it.
grab the sack and take it home with you.
All right.
Well, when you weren't paying attention close enough, he had a box full of kittens down there, and he would take a kitten and throw it in the bag for you.
Because
instead
they
of
literally were everywhere. They were just
and cats.
They were feral cats, stray cats everywhere.
Yeah, and they're not going to raise, and he can't get any money out of a cat
Nope.
because anybody could get a cat off the street.
Yeah.
But so what they would do is and if he ever let the cat out of the bag, he had spoiled his trick and cost himself.
Right. Or
Now-
if you brought it home and then you
let the cat out of the bag.
opened the bag and
cat's
there was
gone.
a cat.
You got
and
no evidence.
Yep. Now you've been the jig
You've
is
been-
up.
yeah, you've
this
been
guy is
fooled.
this guy was.
But
has
it
got
also goes back to another saying. It's tied into another saying is a pig and a poke.
Oh, now I've heard that.
You ever heard of pig and a poke?
I have
Well,
heard of pig and poke.
Meaning-
I've seen the game show.
Clark Griswold was.
Well, but
He was a pig.
but it means like a pig and a poke is like it's not worth much. It's
So basically, you don't necessarily know what's in the bag.
right. Well, see, I didn't know this, but a poke is a type of bag. It's a
yeah.
specific type of bag. So you didn't want you don't want to buy a pig and a poke. You want to see the pig. You want to make sure that
basically.
you get a pig.
Now
That
this
game
wait.
show makes
This
sense.
came from like way back whenever I was a youngin.
Yeah,
when I was-
hundreds and hundreds of years.
hundreds
ago.
of years ago. Honestly, my great aunt and my grandmother, they called brown paper bags pokes.
Pokes.
Well, maybe
That
that's
was a
what it
poke.
is. Yeah.
And you got a poke of groceries, and that was what they called a brown paper bag, which that makes now sense to me because it would be something you can't see through.
Right.
Interesting.
Now, what about poke salad?
Now that's a
Would
plant.
that
That's-
be- yeah,
well, but
that's a plant, but I
But that's
wonder if that's
POLK.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the plan is POLK. Polk.
Okay.
Stupid letters got in
Yeah.
the way.
So it's that silent L that'll get you.
Yeah.
But now here's the other thing. So the cat in the bag, right? That's the most common one I've heard for
Yeah,
it.
don't let the
is-
cat out of the
is
bag.
that
No,
it-
pig in
because
the
somebody
poke.
was switching cats for pigs, and you let the cat out of the bag, you've spoiled the surprise. Now the other theory for the explanation of this, which is less commonly believed to be the origin, but still a lot of people believe this is the origin for the phrase, is that the cat is refers to a cat of nine tails.
So we're talking a flail.
Well, like a whip.
Yeah.
And if you let the cat out of the bag, you've taken the cat of nine tails out
To use.
So, but to me,
I would think
I
more
don't
of the
see
kept in
street.
bags?
I would think more of the street fraud.
right.
That seems
Yeah.
to me like a more likely origin.
And me too. And it's the widely held as the more plausible answer.
Yeah.
But because when you've let the cat out of the bag, the meaning of that is the deception has been
yes.
revealed.
Right.
But so I don't really understand how a cat of nine tails coming out of a bag is like a deception.
Right. I don't understand that one either. It doesn't make much sense, but the street fraud does. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know where the other one comes from, but anyway,
I'm going with the first one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me as well. But yeah, that was my last one. But that one has always kind of, I was like, why would you let a cat out of a bag? Why does that mean trick? I don't understand. So that one's always got me a
All
little
right,
confused.
I got to do one more.
Okay.
And this is more of a question to you guys because I spent the last decade, as you know, pretty much being a facilities director for a nursing facility.
Okay.
Right.
So I get up every morning and go up and you hear all these phrases from a century ago because everybody's 80 to 100 years old. And
Right.
it's just, so you hear it. So every morning I would be like, how are you doing? How are you doing? You know, and we'd say our introductions and stuff. And almost every single one of them from, I'm going to say the 20s to the 50s, maybe.
I'm going to go ahead and type something in here. Go ahead.
So
No, I'm go ahead.
Oh,
Okay.
How are you doing today? Oh, I'm fair and middling.
fair to middling.
Fair to middling.
Fair to middling.
Oh, whoop, I got it wrong.
Fair to middling. I want to say that it's a reference to weather.
Mm-hmm.
Fair weather, midland weather is cloudy weather, but not stormy weather.
That's exactly where it comes from.
So I want to say it's a reference to weather. To be fair to midland means that you are on the brighter side.
yeah, it's kind of like you got that Goldilocks zone going.
Is that right?
Okay.
That's
I have no idea.
That's from what
I've
what
never
I
heard of
researched. I
middling.
don't.
I've heard the saying, but I've never heard of middling in regards to the weather.
Well, most of it in our neck of the woods, so to speak, we've got our farmland. And most of the rest of it is ridge line and river lines. You know, it's just Kentucky. It's just water, swampy, redneckville, but beautiful land. So it was always fair.
Yeah,
Right there in the mid.
Yep.
the
According
mid-
to the dictionary, literally,
Yep.
the phrase "fair to middling" means slightly above average. She managed to capitalize on something fair to middling material, which means some slightly above average.
Yep.
So fair to middling, yeah, I can see
That's
that.
where I got that one from. If the creek don't rise, Lord willing.
Yep.
And then another one they used to love to say was just like, buddy, I feel just as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
I've heard that,
You heard
or
that
a
one?
rocking chair factory. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that.
You know, and
Yeah,
it's
but I mean
just-
that makes sense to me.
It does. It completely because
I
Now,
wish
see,
I could
I
have
thought you were
remembered
going to say fine as a frog's hair.
the finest frogs.
now fine as a frog's hair. Yeah,
yeah, what
that's
about
pretty
drunk as a
fine.
skunk?
But that's what always just killed me because frogs don't have hair.
Right. That means it's got to be really, 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 really fine.
Really, like smooth.
Okay, so one more that I didn't put up here. Riding shotgun, we all know what that means. You know where it
Yeah,
comes
I
from,
would
right?
like
Yeah,
to know.
stagecoaches.
Stagecoaches,
Yeah.
yeah. So
on,
I
on
thought
the
that was
side
kind
of
of
where the horse comes up on the
yeah, they would
yeah.
they would have the driver.
the
and
guy
then they
who
would
would
have
drive.
someone that would have a sawed-off shotgun typically.
Sit
and he
beside
was-
him.
Yep, sit beside him in case they were being robbed, and he could kill them or shoot them.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
something.
say
Okay.
I've got a very millennial definition of that because I did not know this till I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, what the riding shotgun thing?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So that's something I just learned here within the past year. So 37 years, I finally learned what that meant. And I was like, I bet that links to why everybody wanted to ride. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's where it comes
Not
from.
a spot I really would think I'd want to be in.
All right. Okay, so we have idiomed up. We've let the cat out of the bag. We've pulled out all the stops. This episode didn't cost you an arm and a leg to listen to whatsoever.
Oh,
as a matter of
totally
fact, it was completely free, as is all of our episodes.
Yeah. We gave you the whole 9 yards.
Gave you the whole 9 yards. Yeah, and hopefully you're not mad as a hatter after this one was over with. But if you would like to contact us, you can always follow us on Facebook as facebook.com/groups/2mindspodcast. Or shoot us a tweet at
twomindspodcast.
Gmail. We have one of those too.
Yep. twomindspodcast@gmail.com.
You can find this episode and all of our past episodes on our hosting site, Podbean. That's with an N at the end.
Yep.
It took
Just
me a
like the
long time
food.
to figure that out, by the way, Obes. I thought it was Podbeam. I don't know, but Podbean.
Welcome to Podbean.
But now that I know that it's Bean, it makes sense to me. That's twominds.podbean.com. And you can also find us on Spotify. You can search either Jason Claywell, Jeremy Ham, or Two Minds Podcast. Make sure you put quotations around any of those.
Right. Yeah. And you got to make sure you're under the podcast section.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't pull it up if you're in music.
Okay.
It's only if you're under podcast.
Yeah, because this is kind of like a podcast and such.
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
That's what they call it. It's like almost like a radio
Not what
show
the newspaper
like on the internet.
advertisement said.
There's
There's something wrong with this parrot.
Speaking of parrots,
I need a refund.
Mel Blanc. You gotta know who that is. The
All the
voice
voices.
of
Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck.
Like I was watching a video.